Good morning and welcome to episode 3. The week has gone very quickly. Now, if you saw last week's episode, I spoke about some yarn that I was hoping to show you that hadn't yet arrived. And true to Sod's Law, it arrived 2 hours after I published last week's video. So the postman was a little bit surprised because normally I greet him with a kind of a happy dance when he brings me some squishy packages. But he was greeted with, "Oh my God, you've got to be kidding me," last week, which startled him a little. He was far away though. They go to the end of the path. So he knew he wasn't in any danger. But anyway, here it is. And I have been so good. I opened it when it came to check it, and then I put it away in a box and I've not looked at it since. So I'm really proud of me. But anyway, this first lot I want to show you, sorry about the rustling. This is the lovely Anjknits yarn on Etsy. This is her spring collection, and I'm trying to decide which order to show them to you in. There's 5. So we'll call this number 1. This is called In the Garden. They're all 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 100 grams, 448 yards, and they're fingering weight. And this, again, the light is terrible. I've put the light on in the room to try and balance it a bit, but the sun keeps going in and out, and I don't know whether I'm better with the blind up or down. I'm doing my best. So hopefully you can see this. If I bring it close, oh, it's looking a bit dark, but it is a gorgeous creamy base with a sort of a sage green and a dusty pink. It is absolutely lovely. That's number 1. Number 2 is called Pastel Galaxy. Same base, same weight, same everything. But this is a lovely pinky mauve and blue. Really, really pretty. And I don't think you can see it properly, which is a shame. Number 3 is called Rainbow Specks, and it's got a corally colour, creamy yellows, cream, mauve, green, sagey green running to turquoise, and black speckles. And I just love this one as well. Just gorgeous. These are all so beautiful, which I know is what everyone says when they're showing off yarn, but they really are. And bearing in mind Ange is fairly new to doing this. I think she started tail end of last year. This one is called Malachite, and it is greens, navy, and a beautiful golden yellow. So it's running from sort of a sagey green to a paler sagey green to this lovely yellowy green, and then on to yellow. Again, it's really lovely, and I don't think the camera's quite capturing how pretty it is. And this next one is my absolute favourite of the 5. I love all of them. I think Malachite is probably my second favourite, but then it's, I don't know. I love them all. I can't really say. But this one is my absolute favourite. This is called Rose Gardens. And roses are my second favourite flower. And this is creams, pinks. Again, that kind of, is it sage, is it turquoise green? And a lovely sort of golden apricot, which is just beautiful. And this is my absolute favourite. I can see me ordering more of this to do possibly a jumper. Because the other thing with Ange is she has, on her Etsy shop, she has yarns ready dyed for you to order, but she will also do custom colourways. And I haven't tried it myself, but I've seen other people send her sort of photos of, can I have these sort of colours, you know, picture of roses, for example, and she dyes something along those colours. It's just gorgeous. I don't know what I'm going to make with them, but I'll probably end up with more. And to top it all off, I got a little bag with 5 stitch markers in. As kind of a gift. And there's a tree, a heart, a turtle, a bunch of grapes. Sorry, 4 stitch markers. I can't count. 4 stitch markers in a little bag. Really nice. Nice surprise. But the yarny goodness did not end there. Oh no. Because, again, apologies for the rustling, Anjknits yarn was the very first hand-dyed yarn I'd ever bought, and it was kind of a gateway drug. I bought a little set of minis from Craft House Magic that was hand-dyed, that I'm making my sugar plum shawl. I'll show you that later. And I've been looking at another lady, Ducky Darkilings, that everybody raves about her stuff. And I've been looking, and well, I saw something that caused me to succumb, and I'm going to save that till last. So I ordered 200-gram skeins, and again, these are absolutely beautiful. This one is Superwash Merino, 75% and 25% nylon, and it's called Lamb Lotto, this colourway, and it's creams with reds and rusts and purples and pinks kind of speckled into it. And it's apparently inspired by when you see the little lambs in the field and they've all got, they're painted on so that they know who belongs to which ewe. So that's gorgeous. And it's I can't remember what they call it, high twist. So I don't know if you can see, you can actually see the twist in it, whereas if I show you this one, it's one of Anjknits, you can't see the twist so well. So it's just a different texture of yarn. So that's quite exciting and really, really pretty. Don't know, that will probably end up as socks. Most things end up as socks, to be fair. And then the other one I ordered, this is same base again, peony it's called, and peonies are my favourite flowers, as you may be able to tell. I have a peony tattoo. It was the beginning of a sleeve, but then I got ill and had to go on immune suppression and wasn't allowed to have tattoos. But we'll get there, it's coming. So this is pretty much all my favourite colours. It's pinks, goldy greens, turquoises, golden yellows. It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I really hope that you can see the colours, because it is just gorgeous. And I don't know, again, whether this will be socks or a shawl or part of a shawl. Don't know. And she had some mini sets, and I'm a bit of a sucker for a mini set. And this one is a particularly special one. It comes in a little presentation box, little gift box. That's her card. Ducky Darlings. It's backwards, I'm sorry. I don't know how to not make it backwards. And these are, again, Superwash Merino 75%, 25% nylon. And this is, I think, called, it's either Spring Flowers or Country Flowers, but it's a set of 6 little minis that all tone with each other and will almost certainly be socks. And the reason I bought this wasn't just because they're pretty colours, although that was a bit of a hook, but the profits from this particular set go to Marie Curie cancer nursing. So it's called the Flower Power Fund, so I kind of had to have those because it was for charity. It's a feeble excuse, I know. But now this is the exciting thing. This is the thing that I saw that I had to do an order. And if you're going to do an order, you might as well do a proper order. Otherwise, the postage is the same. So you might as well make it worthwhile, mightn't you? So this, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to hold that one out the way. This is a set of minis. There's actually 5. That's the other one is just like a plain creamy colour. Now, can anyone guess, looking at these colours, Sarah, if you're watching, you'll know exactly what these are and why I had to have them. This is inspired by Star Trek. Yes, people. Another confession for you, I am a Trekkie. So I just had to have it. The blue isn't quite as dark as it should be, but it is inspired by it. It's not meant to be exactly the same. So we have obviously the black for the trousers and, you know, depending on the series, like the shoulder tops. Science and medical, piloting and navigation, engineering and security. What am I going to do with them? I don't know. I feel like they need to be separated. So red and black, blue and black, gold and black. They will probably be socks. And again, like all the others, they're 75-25 superwash merino and nylon. So they are, it's a sock base. So they are more than likely going to be socks. So I'm trying to be embarrassed, but you know what? I'm really not. And there's a lot of Star Trek fans who insist on being called Trekkers because Trekkie is considered to be a bit of an insult. But I don't care. I am a Trekkie and not ashamed. We went, 3-4 years ago, we went to Birmingham, to the NEC, to the motorbike show. And I just did not know where to go because in the same building there was a Star Trek convention. No, I'm telling a lie. That was different. We did go. It was a late 50th birthday present. My husband took me to, it was Star Trek's 50th anniversary, I think. Possibly. But it was for my 50th birthday. My husband bought tickets for him and I to go to Birmingham to the NEC. And there were loads of people in costume. I've got my picture taken with a Klingon and my earring got caught in his hair. And we were like stuck together for about 10 minutes while we tried to untangle ourselves. It was one of the best times of my life. Yeah, so Captain Kirk was the first man I ever loved, but that has kind of evolved into always loved Mr. Spock, but not romantically until Zachary Quinto started playing him. And I actually have, you can't see it because it's behind you, but next to my sewing machine is a tiny little Mr. Spock that my husband bought me. Might have been while we were there. But yeah, he supervises my sewing. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. So that's all my excited yarny goodness. And I've really got to try and restrain myself. Though you know I'm going to add to it because I've already said we're going to have to order some more of this colour. Just unrepentant. It's a disease, I think. Anyway, on to finished objects. And I have 3. Wahey! So I have finished my virus shawl. And I left the progress marker in there for you to see. This is how close I was to finishing it last week. Literally 3 rows. I finished it the next day. but I've left it in the bag until now. I did take pictures and posted on Instagram. I've left it in the bag until now because I wanted to show it to you and I knew I'd forget. So yeah, really pleased with that. I did it as part of it's called the Anniversary Virus Shawl crochet along, and it begins on the vernal equinox every year. There's a mouthful for you. Which this year was March the 20th. And so I joined in and I very much enjoyed it, and I will do it again, I think, if the ladies are happy to have me. And I knit that. No, I didn't. I crocheted that with Elise Diva Ombre Batik Silky Effect yarn, which is, it's got a lovely drape and it is exactly what it says. It's very silky, it's lovely and soft. And you would think that it wouldn't get into a tangle being so silky and soft, and you would be wrong. Because you may have seen last week, the reason it wasn't finished last week was that the last little bit of the cake got itself into a proper bird's nest, and it took me an hour and a half to unwind it all. So that was less than fun, but I'm very pleased with the result. And I have got another cake in exactly the same colour that I'm going to knit a shawl with. So that's finished object number 1. Finished object number 2, green socks. Now when I showed these to you, you'll have to excuse my sock blockers aren't quite long enough. When I showed these to you, I think it was in episode 1, I said I didn't think they'd got a name because I couldn't find it anywhere on the pattern. That's because I had lost the title page when I printed it out. So they're actually called, I wrote it down, Woodland Walk. And they're by Olivia Villarreal. And I'm pretty sure I got this pattern on Ravelry. Don't think it was a free pattern, but I think I got it on Ravelry. So you've got the leaves that, in the pattern, they're knit top down, but I did toe up. So on my socks, the leaves go in the opposite direction. So the other side is just plain. So you've got a left foot and a right foot. The pattern has got an ordinary heel flap and gusset, but I put in a fleegle heel because I prefer that and it fits me nicely. Number 2. And that was knit in Drops Fable Unicolor. The colourway didn't have a name, it just had a number. I'm not a name. Oh no, what is it? I'm not a number, I'm a free man. And then number 3, another pair of socks. My blue socks, they are blue. They don't look blue at the moment. They are blue. Knitting my wool from Anjknits. And these were, again, loosely based on Crazy Sock Lady's Heel Toe Dosey Do. I just borrowed the chevron pattern for those. And again, I knit them toe up, whereas the pattern is cuff down. So I knit them toe up, so my chevrons go in the opposite direction. They don't go down, they go up. Doesn't matter. And again, a fleegle heel, because these are for me and it fits me quite nicely. And I like knitting it. Although now I've done it several times in a row, I'm a little bit bored with it. So I'm going to switch it up. So that's it for finished objects, but I don't think that's bad in a week. 2 pairs of socks and a shawl. So that yarn from Anjknits, I think it was her frozen colourway. I don't know that she's got any more. And it was the first one that I bought from her end of last year when she just started up. And there was a fair amount left. If I show you, there's at least 20 grams. I'd say that's probably more than 20 grams left. And that's after knitting a pair of size 7 ladies socks. I do have quite a short leg on them. I only do a 10cm leg from where the heel ends to where the cuff begins. I only do 10 centimeters. But I did do something different on these socks that might mean that I can make them a bit longer for winter socks. When I got past the heel, I went up a needle size, to make the legs a little bit stretchier. So I'm going to see if that works, and if it does I can have a longer leg, because I've got quite chunky little calves, and if I go too long on the leg they don't fit me, they're too tight, and also my ankles swell sometimes because of the kidney thing. So, but anyway, I had a fair bit left, so I have started another pair of socks for me, using some West Yorkshire spinners in a colourway called Milk Bottle, which I think is part of their Sweet Shop collection. So it's just a cream really. So I'm striping those 2 rows of each, and I'm changing, rather than doing it on the end of the row, which is what I would generally do, I'm changing it in the middle of the back there. I don't think the jog is too bad. And these are probably just going to be like little trainer socks, so you won't see it, it'll be under my foot anyway. So that's those. It's my own pattern. Again, it's just made up from what's in my head kind of thing. Then I have another pair of socks. Kel's to Breeze, she has many socks on the go. These are for my husband, because he's due a pair of socks. He's not had any since February. And this is the main colour, Rico Superba Melange Jacquard. And again, it's not got a number. It's not got a name rather, it's only got a number. But you can see it's blues and greys. Very manly. And for the contrasting heel and toe, I'm using Signet Truly Wool 4-ply. Just in sort of a dark denim-y blue. I try and colour code when I make socks for my husband and my sons, and I didn't for Lauren, my daughter-in-law. I call her my daughter-in-law. She's my son's fiance, but it's just a mouthful, so I just call her my daughter-in-law. I try and colour code them because I don't know why. I just like doing it. For me, it's easier. For my husband and my younger son, obviously, I wash both their socks, so I know whose socks are whose because they're pretty much the same size. But yeah, so I think Dave's up till now have been red or russety colours. Ewan's are oranges and browns, and he had a pair for Christmas that was sort of, the colourway was called khaki, but it was kind of greens and burgundies, and it was really nice, but not what I would have called khaki. But anyway, I'm off at a tangent again. So that's socks. Oh gosh, sorry if that was a horrible noise for you. I've got my shawl that I'm knitting for Craft House Magic's Shawl Along, Spring Shawl Along 2021, and I'm on to the 4th colour now. If you can see, I'm not sure. I have to cover my face up, so I don't really know if you can see or not. So we've got the turquoisey colour, the pale grey, it doesn't look to be coming out very well. It's got little flecks of all the other colours in it. A slightly darker grey, again that's got the flecks of all the colours in it. And then we're on to a kind of grey turquoise. So that's the 4th colour of 6. And I've just started, I've done 3 rows of the next pattern, which is lace. And I left the progress marker in there so you can see that's where I was up to last week, where the little bunny is. So it's growing quite quick. And this, I'm using the minis that I bought from Craft House Magic. It's her Fade to Grey mini set. And we've got still dark turquoise and this beautiful yellowy golden, I call it chartreuse. I'm not sure if that's quite right, but it's one of my favourite colours anyway. So that's that. And then last, but definitely not least is my jumper. My Stillness jumper. Oh, the Sugar Plum Shawl. Sugar Plum Shawl is by Mina Phillip, and you can get her pattern on Ravelry, and it's a 1 skein shawl, so you can do it with 1 skein of fingering weight yarn, so 100 grams. It has, I think, 3 sizes: small, medium and large, but it's designed so that you can adapt it, so you can have it. There's 2 main patterns. There's the garter with a line of holes every 10 rows, and then there's the lace pattern, which is holes pretty much every row, but you can adapt it for the amount of yarn you've got to have more of the garter, more of the lace, more of both, whatever you want to do. It's quite a good pattern actually, and I'm sure I got that on Ravelry as well. Now, my jumper, I have remembered today to bring a coat hanger because I think that will make it a lot easier for you to see. Now, oh yeah, that works much better. Look at that. So here we are. So this is Stillness by Elizabeth Sullivan. And as you can see, I'd got to, let me turn it around, I'd got to there last week, just where that grey line is there. It's not grey actually, it's green, but it looks grey. I've done this much, which doesn't look like much, because I did want to finish my socks, and I don't think I touched this for 3 days. And plus I've got to the slightly boring bit now where you just go round and 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 round. Although it's got some slight waist shaping, so every 5 rows you either decrease or increase, just to give it a bit of waist shaping. So that's how that's coming along, and I'm quite happy with it. I think it's going to fit. I'm not using the recommended yarn, so it's always a little bit of a guessing game, especially if, like me, you're really naughty and you don't do a tension square. I have a habit of not doing a tension square, and I know I'm not alone. I know there's loads of knitters out there who just want to crack on with the project and not do a tension square. So don't be looking at me with that disapproving look. I'm not alone. But it is silly, because what happens is I end up getting this much through a jumper, and then going, oh, it's going to be 6 sizes too big, or it's going to fit me like a sausage skin. Darn it, I should have done a tension square, and then the whole jumper ends up being a tension square, when I could have just spent an hour or 2 knitting up a little square and working it up, and not wasted days and days of knitting time. But sometimes it's like Russian roulette. Sometimes it works out, and I think I've got lucky this time. So, unrepentant again. Yeah, so that's that. And again, let me see if I can get the colour for you. I don't know if you can see the colours any better if I do this. Let me peek. See them any better? Not really. I've got to do something about it. Oh no, actually that's not bad. I've got to do something about this lighting. So yeah, there we are. So that's kind of it for today. I've got lots of lovely yarns that are begging me to cast them on into something that I'm going to have to try and restrain myself from doing. I want to get my shawl finished before the end of the month, because there's a knit along starting on the 1st of May, and I don't really want to have 2 going at the same time. I used to be very much a 1 project at a time knitter, but now I've got more time on my hands and a list. My knitting list just grows every day. Every podcast I watch, I see something and I think, oh, I'd like to knit that. And I'm off on Ravelry, where I find another 6 or 7 patterns that I want to add. It's out of hand, really. But I'm trying to restrain myself from casting on another jumper until I've finished this one, because that will be my downfall. Because what will happen is I'll be all full of, I've got 2 jumpers I want to do, and they're both top down, the same as this is. This is top down. Traditionally, for those who are not knitters, you knit the front, the back, the sleeves, and then you sew them all together. With a top down jumper, you cast on and you start at the top and you just go round. And you go round and round and round till you get to the sleeves. Then you put the sleeves on a bit of yarn, as I've done here. Then you carry on down the body till you get to the bottom, where you do the ribbing, and then you go back and you collect the stitches that you've left for the sleeves, and you knit the sleeves. So that's all wildly interesting until you get past the point where you've divided for the sleeves, and then it gets a bit boring, and that's where my attention wanders. So it's actually quite good for me to have several projects, because once I start to get a bit bored with one, I can go, oh, I'm going to do some sock, and then I get bored with the sock and I go, oh, I'll go back to my jumper. But if I've got too much on the go, I just won't ever finish anything. And I don't want these podcasts to be boring, and you're probably all thinking, really? But if I'm only knitting one thing, it's going to be really hard for me to find some content for it. So at least if I've got 3 or 4 things on the go, I can go, well, this is how far I am with this, and this is how far I am with that. And there's the chance that every now and again I will finish something and start something new, so that no one actually dies of boredom while they're watching the podcast, although who knows, that may well be happening anyway. The other thing I wanted to mention to you, do you see how these are curling up? So this little interesting fact for you, for non-knitters, this is why we have, or one of the reasons why we have ribbing on the cuffs and on the bottom of jumpers, because otherwise they curl up like that. There are other ways to deal with it. You can garter stitch the edge, but most often you'll find jumpers have got ribbing on because it doesn't curl up, and also it gives you a nice elasticated finish so that the wind doesn't blow up your sleevey. There you go, fun fact. Well, I think that's everything for today. I think I've bored you for long enough. So I will say see you next week. Thank you for your time. If you have enjoyed yourself, or even if you haven't, just do it to please me. Like and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Helps the algorithms to spread me to a wider audience. Again, thank you for drawing me. Drawing me? Are you drawing me? Why would you do that? How very odd. Thank you for joining me. Sorry about wobbling the camera. I have got my usual arrangement of tables, sewing box, cardboard box and blue tack, and I just kicked the table. Sorry. Time I went, I think. I'll see you next week. Thanks again. Bye.